If someone is 25 years old, deposits $2,000 each year into a traditional IRA, individual retirement account, for 45 years at 5% interest compounded annually, and retires at age 70, how much money will be in the account upon retirement? Note that we are going to put the answer into MyMathLab rounded to the nearest cent as needed. So the first thing to do is to have a formula. We need the formula in order to be able to input our values and determine what the accumulated amount is. And here's the formula. A, which is accumulated amount, is equal to PMT, which is your annual payment, times the quantity 1 plus APR over N, where APR is your percentage rate as a decimal. N is the number of payments per year. That is going to be raised to N times Y, where N, once again, is the number of payments per year, and Y is the number of years. And then we'll subtract 1, and we'll divide that entire amount by the APR divided by N. Now, what I'm going to do is make sure that we understand exactly what it is that each one of these values is supposed to be. And so I've gone ahead and set this up that we know what A is, PMT is, APR, N, and Y. Now let's assign values to each one of those. As far as the A goes, that's what we're looking for. How much money will be in the account upon retirement? This is my A. Now we're going to look for the PMT. Well, this right here, we're going to deposit $2,000 each year. That is the PMT. The APR, the annualized percentage rate, is this right here. Now remember, APR needs to be written as a decimal, so it's going to be 0.05. N is going to be the number of payments per year. And I've kind of made a mess here, but we're going to compound annually. So therefore, N will be equal to 1. And let me just go ahead and write down that PMT will be equal to 2,000. And then finally, we need to know for how many years that we're doing this for. And that would be this, and that is going to be my Y. So Y is equal to 45. So now what we need to do is put this all into the formula in such a way that we can input it into the calculator. So A will be equal to our monthly payment, which is $2,000. Then we're going to multiply that by the following, and we'll set this up as 1 plus, and then we'll put APR, which in this case is going to be 0.05 in the numerator here. And we're going to divide that by N, which is the number of times or how often we compound it annually. I'm going to enclose that in parentheses, and then I'm going to raise that to the power of N times Y, remembering that N is 1. And what I'm going to do is use a double set of parentheses here. So I have 1, and now we're going to multiply by the number of years, which in this case is 45. And then I will close my parentheses. And I'm subtracting 1 from that entire amount. Enclose that in brackets. And then that is going to be over 0.05 divided by 1 again, just like it is right here in the numerator. So we have 0.05 divided by 1, and I will enclose that in parentheses. Now the hard part really is putting this into the calculator so that we get the correct value. A lot of times students will input this incorrectly into a calculator, or they're using a calculator that does not follow or adhere to the strictest sense of the order of operations, depending upon when the calculator was initially manufactured as far as when it first appeared on the market. So what I do is I use a web-based calculator to show my students exactly what they're doing in order to input the values into the calculator. This particular calculator is Web 2.0 calc.com, and here's the URL. Now let's input exactly the way that it's written. So the first thing is that we're going to type in 2,000. Then we're going to multiply. So we left click multiply. Now we need to go ahead and understand that this is a division, and I've got a numerator and a denominator. I don't have a division or a fraction key on this particular calculator, so I'm going to need to use brackets and parentheses. There are no brackets, so we're just going to use a series of nested parentheses. Now if you look at what I've written up here, this thing right here should have a set of parentheses outside to help us understand that this is all being done together. Now obviously with the order of operations, the multiplications and divisions will be done before the additions, but we just want to make sure that we've got everything written out and typed into the calculator so there are no mistakes. So the first one is I'm going to open a set of parentheses. Then you'll see that there's this next set of parentheses right here. So I'm going to open another set of parentheses. And in fact, there will be 3 sets of parentheses opened. Then we'll type in 1 plus, and then we're going to do 0.05 divided by 1, which I don't really have to do that, but you'll notice that as I'm typing this in, you'll see here that this is beginning to look a lot like what I have written in the notes. Now we want to raise this to a power. So we're going to close this with a set of parentheses. Then we're going to press the X to the Y button. And notice it says raise to a higher power. So I'm going to open a set of parentheses again. And I'm going to type in 1 times 45. And I will close the set of parentheses. And now you'll see exactly what we've got going on here. It looks just like what I've got written. And now I will subtract 1. The next thing I need to do is close parentheses here, because I need to make sure all my nested parentheses are closing. I will divide, and I'm going to type in another open set of parentheses, 0.05 divided by 1. Sorry, that should be divided by 1. Close the set of parentheses. And then we'll press equals now that we have everything typed in, and we're given the following value. Alright, so the answer that we would then input into MyMathLab would be $319,000, $319,400.31. This would be the accumulated amount.